afternoon, everyone. So I am hopping on today. I apologise, it's been a little while since I did a live training session with Aztec, who you can hear in the background there, talking to the cockatoos. But I wanted to come on because I really commonly get questions on my training videos where I'm working with Aztec about the treats that I'm using. So I can pretty much guarantee for every video that I do training, someone will ask what treat I'm using. In answer to that question, the treat I'm using in most of my training videos are pine nuts, but also occasionally things like cashews and walnuts will fall in there as well. The reason I wanted to address this though is because asking that question kind of has a connotation behind it that the treat that I'm using is something special, like I'm using a particular treat that must work for all birds, and that's not the case at all. So the reinforcer that you choose for your bird when you're doing a training session with them is going to be different to what maybe I'm choosing for my bird. It's going to be very individual and personalized to the bird that you're working with. And the reason for this is it's because just like us, they all have different tastes and different likes and different things that they're going to work for. And so we can't expect every bird to work for the same type of treat as another bird would. So although I use pine nuts for most of my macaws, not every macaw I've ever met likes pine nuts. So it's really up to you to work out exactly what sort of food your bird prefers the most, what sort of food your bird is going to actively work to get access to. And this is what you're going to use as a reinforcer. Not pine nuts because it works for me. It's going to be whatever works for your parrot. And then on the other hand, food doesn't have to be the only reinforcer. I use food a lot in the training videos because when I'm training something new, I want something that's going to be fast and quick, and my bird's going to, take it, eat it, it's gone, we can get on to the next repetition. I don't want it to be a toy where maybe I have to hand it to my bird, wait for them to chew it, finish chewing it, put it down, then start another repetition. If I use tactile affection, again, this can take a little bit longer. So food is fantastic because it's quick and easy. The bird usually eats it. We've got a huge variety available to us. We can choose anything from seeds to nuts to fruits, whatever your bird desires. So we've got a lot of variety that we can utilize, but food is not the be-all and end-all of reinforcement for parrots. There are a lot of other things out there we can utilize as reinforcers. But in the context of finding a treat that's suitable for your bird, it's really about working out what your bird's going to want to work for. And then it's also about building some motivation behind that. So my birds generally don't get a lot of pine nuts except for training sessions. So I'm not putting pine nuts in their food bowls during the day. They're not getting it for, much else. Maybe they get a little bit in foraging activities, but 90% of the time they're working for their pine nuts. So there's a lot of value in them. They get other nuts for free, but the pine nuts are kept aside. And so that's the other thing we want to look at is if you're just offering your bird all of their favorite things for free in their food bowls, then maybe they're not going to be that interested in working for them either. So have a think about what it is your bird eats first when you offer food to them, and then have a think of how you can maybe change how you offer that to them so that they're not getting it for free too often. And we also have a video that I will link in the comments section from our Sydney consultant, Patrick, that's a little bit about selecting reinforcers and a little exercise you can do with your birds. Awesome. So I just want to address that. If you've got any questions, pop them down in the comments. Otherwise, I'd love to hear what treats your parrots work for. All right. Have a good afternoon, everyone.